Can I take a shot of you? This is a very good, Yeah, go ahead. It's a very good, where's the damn thing?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Go ahead. Put your cameras up. 1, 2, 3, strong. That's gonna be good. All right, go.
So of course in the pilot episode there's a bit of a twist regarding your character, which will get revealed.
Yes.
How much can you talk about that?
I can't. Those of you who know me know I'm pretty forthcoming when it comes to the characters. I'm like, can be quite voluble about it. But in this instance, there's a lot of, there's a lot of things that we have in the quiver that we don't want to shoot off right now. And so there's not so much I can say about that. But I can say that any good comic book, carries twists and turns and secrets like that kind of thing. And in many ways, Barry Allen, played by Grant Gustin, is, what I'm finding out is perhaps the most easily definable character. Because, there's, 100 years of mythology, and then it's pretty clear what he wants. Those goals are stated quite clearly, whereas the rest of us, are operating on many different levels, myself included, and that, as actors, is awesome to play.
Was it the big twist that kind of drew you to the show?
Yes.
So you read that script, that's my character playing that?
No, even before that, I had worked with Greg Berlanti and Andrew Kreisberg before. In the first instance, Greg had was doing this show called Jack and Bobby, and he had the role of a gay, cocaine-addicted brother, which was so much fun to play. And then subsequent to that, said, hey, I got this thing on Eli Stone playing the dad with a secret. That was so much fun to do. So when they called again, they're like, we got something. I went and, we talked, and they sort of like closed the door and laid out the show. And at that point, you talked to Jesse about it. Like, Jesse played it cool. I was like, I'm gonna, work this thing through. Jesse was like, he was at the tea room in New York. We both live in New York. And he's walking out, and he said, I think he played it cool, like, for a couple of days. I'm going to think it over. But he walked away from the meeting with Greg, and he was like, oh, I'm in. I'm like, I'm doing this show, So, yeah, they're good people. I'm sure they're tremendous people to be in business with. Whether the show goes or not, some of them do, some of them don't. But, they really are interested in story first. They just, Greg has kind of conquered Hollywood, and yet is one of the more humble men you'll ever meet. And I think largely it's because he really loves his projects and wants them to go and do well. And you see that from somebody like that, and it's like, yeah, great. We can all try and tell the story as best we can.
Does Wells kind of see Barry more as a project, or does he see him as a person first, or as a combination?
Tremendous question. Yeah, both.
How does he kind of approach Barry then, going after the pilot?
Barry has sort of like 3 large male influence roles in his life. His dad, clearly, but his dad is in prison, and that sort of governs everything that the engine that spurs Barry on is all from his dad being accused of murdering his mother and ending up in prison. The man that raised him, Detective Joe West, played by Jesse, is like his de facto on the ground father. And then something incredible happens. Our show begins with, not to be too philosophical about it, but we have a big bang starts the show off, and maybe that's a little poetic, but it kind of is, and from the moment that bang hits him and he's struck by lightning, Wells kind of becomes one of the biggest influences on him in his new persona. Like, the guy who's his father figure in this new persona is Wells. Wells is happy to play that role, but it's not just that role, as you said, for Wells.
Is there a particular Flash villain that you'd really like to see on the show?
Well, yeah, and so you see me, right? We talked last week, and I'm like, what can I? Yes, and he's coming.
Is it you?
What's that?
Is it you?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, there is an episode. I mean, like, I think we talked about last week, right? It's like these guys are just like boom, boom, boom. I'm like, what? Already? Like if you follow the thing, you're kind of like, well, that's good, but keep that in the back pocket till, and they're like, bam, there's the ace, bam, bam, you know, and it's awesome to see. And yeah, episode 104 already. What the hell?
Miller, we know.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, but you when you say Captain, I get, you know, no pun intended, I get the chills. I'm like, right? Really? I mean, and that's like, so I'm going to have to pick a new villain for like episode 8 or 9, you know? There's a fun, yeah, anyway.
Well, this feels like a little bit
Yeah.
of a different genre for you acting-wise.
Completely.
But you seem very enthusiastic about it. How much are you personally enjoying being on a action-y, comic booky show like this?
I love it. You know, Greg and I were giggling over this scene that I shot. I just love it. I think, you know, it allows you to, you know, there's a couple things about it. In terms of like the structure of it, shooting an hour long generally means I need some damn 20 more mil stat, you know, or, you know, like he stood there and then he walked over there. I can tell from the blood and the semen, you know, like it's like, you know. Or it's like a show that I did, Ed, an hour long, which wouldn't get done today. You know, there's just no chance that show takes up an hour of programming time about a small town. You know, it's just, you know, it's very, very hard to get, you know, 43 minutes of that up and running if it's got comedy to it. And it's still a drama, essentially, you know, with heart. Those things are completely rare. You see them falling by the wayside again and again and again, and it's a shame. I kind of like those shows. The Flash is got this massive engine behind it. You know, it's like it's Comic-Con, and it's like it's for the CW, extremely smart opportunity for them to like hook their wagon to something that's going to bring in not just the demographic that they're known for. It's like it's going to bring these people in, us, you know, anybody that goes to the multiplex in the summers to see Avengers, you know, and like I say, we started from the very beginning, so you don't have to be a comic book person to come on board. Smart for them. The action, tremendous, and then the humor. Like I think one of the cards that we have in our back pocket, this is extremely beneficial for us, is most hour-longs don't have this lightheartedness. And we have all the stuff, but we have the, you know, that is like a mandate from the guys to bring that again and again and again. And I love that part of it. I love the fact that we have like these moments of levity as well as all the action, as well as the stories that we have to necessarily untold. I think a lot of that comes from the fact that sometimes a lot of superheroes are, you know, sitting with cowls and brooding up above, you know, whereas we got Barry Allen who's like, whoa! You know, he's like very innocent, you know, and it's, you know, a very regular person, and it's appealing.
What are the challenges of working in a chair? I mean, wheelchair. I mean, that's got to be distinctive.
Well, off camera, you know, it's, but yeah, it's not, if you've watched the pilot, he's completely not defined by the wheelchair, so in a strange way, it's not a massive factor, you know, it's something we had to get comfortable with for the pilot, but it was, you know, and there's a few things that we needed to do that were kind of challenges in the sense that Wells is the smartest guy in the room, and, you know, you don't want, you know, figuratively people talking down to him, but then we have a spectacular director in David Nutter, and that sort of, if you watch the pilot, that ended up not being an issue whatsoever. As an actor, I think that would be the only concern you would have, is like being able to marry the stature of the character with, you know, the physical appearance, but you know, the world is, you know, completely populated with extremely intelligent people, some of the most intelligent people we've ever seen, you know, who are in that situation. So, it was not an issue. And then, as you saw from the pilot, there's other dimensions too, which make it easier to play a number of things. He said very vaguely.